about you, but my favorite time of year is basically September through December. I like Halloween, I like Thanksgiving, I like Christmas. So you can be assured that this next few months, I'm gonna do a few festive looks. And for me, pumpkin season starts as soon as September 1st hits. And I feel like a pumpkin all month long. So if you feel the same, let's go on and do this orange smoky eye. I'm gonna be using the Mikayla Glamlite palette, but you can use whatever palette you have. I'm gonna talk about oranges and where you should place certain colors depending on the texture, so it doesn't matter what you have, you'll be able to replicate this. When I'm doing a smoky eye, I know that I'm probably not gonna do a winged eyeliner or anything like that, so I like to use a black eyeliner pencil to tightline. And if you've never tightlined before, follow me because I'm gonna show you how to do it in a way that is going to not have your eyes freak out. So I want you to look straight in your mirror, and you're gonna open your eyes pretty wide so you can see your top waterline. Then you're gonna go in the outer corner, and when you're doing the outer corner, you're gonna look in the opposite direction up. So I'm looking up in that direction while I go in and put this up in my outer corner. Now, as I get closer to the center, notice that now I'm looking down, and when I'm gonna do the inner part, I'm gonna look down on the opposite side. So I like to go from the outer corner to the inner in one swipe, because it makes it easier. Now, if you're really new to this and you're like, whoa, Donna, that freaked me out watching you, I want you to take a clean eyeshadow brush or whatever eyeshadow brush, and you're gonna lift up your eye and then go right in. Using the brush will allow a little bit more comfort if you're not used to it. I'm also gonna take the pencil and do my lower lash line because right now I'm framing my eye. I know I'm gonna do smoky, so I want it to be as dark as possible, as close to my eye as I can get it. So that's why I'm using a black pencil as opposed to any other colors, even though we're gonna do something orange and smoky and I'm gonna use a lot of browns. To do my lower lash line, I do always like to use a brush to hold down my eyelid, especially once I've already got my concealer on. That way I don't ruin my makeup. Now that we've got the black framed, I'm gonna go in with a brown eyeliner pencil. And the brown eyeliner pencil I'm using is Espresso from Makeup Geek. It is a matte brown eyeliner that's super creamy. So you're also going to need a pencil brush close by because you're gonna smudge out the line. We're gonna be using this brown eyeliner as an eyeshadow base. And because it's waterproof, it's gonna help my eyeshadow not crease throughout the day. So you're gonna look in the mirror, you're gonna tilt your head back, and you're gonna look down. The idea here is that you wanna get the liner as close to the lash line as possible and as thick as you can get it. Don't worry about it being too thick because we're gonna smudge it. We want this to cover our entire eye. Look how well this went on. I'm going a little bit higher in the outer corner, knowing that I want the eye in general, or I want the shadow to be higher in the outer corner than it is in the inner corner because I wanna lift the eye. But don't neglect the very, very inner corner. There we go, that's perfect. I'm not bringing it all the way up to my crease or covering my whole eyelid because now when I smudge it with my pencil brush, it's going to automatically go a little bit higher. So by not bringing it all the way, you have a little wiggle room. Now when I'm blending, I'm applying medium pressure and I'm blending it to the center and then going from the outer corner and also blending it to the center. I don't want to blend it down because I want to keep it in a controlled area. So notice that even when I'm going here in the outer corner, I'm flicking up and I'm blending up. As you can see, it got rid of my harsh line and now I actually have a whole smokiness going on just from this alone. So if you're in a rush, my friend, and you love a smoky eye, just take an eyeliner pencil, smudge it around your eyelid, call it a day, put some mascara on and go to work. Something that I forgot to mention, which is really important, is when you're doing this technique, you want to do one eye at a time. Notice that I blended this entire eye before I went on and did this off camera. Do the same thing. Don't apply it on this side, apply it on this side, go to blend this side, and think that by the time you're going to go back to blend this one, that it'll move, because it won't. When you're working with waterproof products, they dry pretty quickly, and once they dry, you lose your opportunity to play around with it, which means blend it out. Now we're ready to start applying eyeshadow. I want you to grab a flat eyeshadow brush. This is a Crown SS 011. Any flat brush will do. And I'm going to pick Accent, which is this color right here. This color is pretty bright. It's a nice, beautiful gold that has a lot of metallic in it. And I'm going to put it on top of the dark shadow. Now, when I put it on top, I'm going to press and give it a place to sit. You might be thinking, why did I go darker if I'm gonna add a lighter color? Well, because I added the darker color underneath, this is gonna make it a little bit darker so it adds to that smokiness. I'm gonna start in the center Move it all the way over to the inner corner. And I'm gonna leave the outer corner alone because I know I'm gonna add a darker color there later on. But I'm gonna tap this around and I'm gonna bring it higher than where I did the blending. There we go, put it all around and give it a place to sit. I'm gonna leave that alone and I'm gonna go do the other side. Now I'm gonna go in with a brighter color. I wanna start filling in my crease. So I'm gonna use Buffalo Chicken, which is this bright orange. No one said that you have to do a smoky eye and have it all be dark. In fact, I love adding bright colors into smoky eyes because, well, I like bright colors. I'm using a fluffy blending brush. This is the C511 from Crown, which is a great dupe for MAC 217. So if you ever hear people talking about the MAC 217 brush, it's one of the best blending brushes and it is identical to this. But the difference is that the MAC one cost, if it's not $20, it's a little bit more than $20, but this Crown one is under $5. And with my discount code, you get 20% off Crown brushes, and the code will be down below. My brush is loaded with product. I dab some of the excess on the tissue that's sitting in front of me. And when I'm doing this, I'm gonna keep my eyes open. The idea of the orange is I want this to be a nice fade behind the smoky eye. So I'm gonna start in the outer corner and I'm gonna blend up into my crease and over. Keeping my eye open allows me to see exactly where this color will go. And it's okay if it's not touching exactly right here because I'm gonna go in with another color after this. Remember, it's best to work your colors from light to dark and blend your dark into your lights. Ugh, but this is like the perfect amount of orange. Pumpkin season. I'm using the residue of the brush to just brush some of the product right here in the inner part. This is just gonna do a little bit of contouring from my eye. That went a little bit too far down for me. So I'm gonna take a clean brush and I'm just gonna clean that up a little bit. Clean brushes are great erasers without you having to take everything off or use makeup remover. See, just by a little bit of fluffing, that is all gone. Actually gonna use that same brush because it has no product on it and I just wanna soften this up a little bit. By softening this up, I'm creating a little bit more of a gradient fade where you see the concentration of color right here, but then by blending over like this, it stretches it to the eyebrow and creates a bit of a fade. I also recommend when you're doing the colors in the crease like this, if you can, take a color that's matte. You wanna leave the shimmers for the eyelid and for the inner corner, but for the crease and things like that, I want you to look for colors that are more on the matte side because that's what's gonna give you the most definition in your eye. Essentially, when you're using eyeshadow, think of it as contouring your eye shape. So you wanna have certain areas have your highlight colors and your shimmers and other areas be your contour areas, which is gonna have more of a matte finish. Sticking with the mattes, I'm going to take Hot Cocoa, which is a little bit of this darker color, and I'm gonna mix it with Willow to add into the outer corner of my eye and blend into my crease. Now, when I'm putting it in the crease here, I don't wanna go as high as the orange. I wanna do it kind of right here in the middle where if my eye's open, you don't see it, but it's gonna create more depth, which is gonna help bring the eyelid closer and the orange back even more. The way that I'm going to mix these two together is I'm going to take this brush, which is a C528. It's one of the brushes I use all the time. It's from Crown as well. And it's a tapered blending brush. But to mix the colors together, I'm gonna put it in Hot Cocoa, then in Willow, then in Hot Cocoa, and then Willow, and just go back and forth to basically create my own color. Still gonna dab the excess off on my tissue because I don't want fallout. So when I go ahead and place it, I'm gonna tilt my head back because I do wanna put it in this outer corner right here, doing little bitty circles. And then I'm going to blend it into the crease in this area. Now, I do recommend starting with less product. You can always add more, but having less product to start with allows you to control your application. So I'm gonna go in and get a tiny bit more. I'm still keeping my eyes open. Now it is going up a little bit higher. I don't mind that. And when I say it's going up a little bit higher, meaning that when my eyes open, you can see some of it peeking out, which is totally okay. Now that I've applied that, I'm gonna take my blending brush that I used to apply the orange, and I'm gonna go over the edge of this darker color. Now when I'm going over the edge, I'm just doing little shimmies. I'm working my way over the whole entire top. This is blending it, but also using some of the orange to overlap, so it creates even more of a gradient. Notice that I'm never blending down. We always blend on up and over. I'm switching back to the darker brush. And now I'm doing little circles because I was noticing it wasn't moving as much as I wanted it to. So going in with the same brush, didn't get more product, but it still has some of the residue. By creating little circles, you can see that's giving me a little bit more movement and blending it into the orange. There we go. I'm a really big fan of not being able to see where your colors end or start, but also showing the definition of multiple colors. So I always spend time blending. And my friend, if you struggle with blending, stick with me. I will teach you all the ways to blend. You will never have a problem with blending again. I want to add a little bit more orange to this look since it's an orange smoky eye. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to add the brown pencil I use as a base underneath my lower lash line. I'm going to smudge that out and I'm going to put the buffalo chicken, which is the bright orange, on top of it. So it's not going to be as bright as what you're seeing up here, but it is going to be nice and dark and smoky underneath the eye. So in order to do that, I've already got the black in my waterline. So here, instead of going in the waterline, I want to go on top of my lashes. And to do that, I'm still going to use my brush to hold my eye down a little bit to stretch it. I am overlapping a little bit into the waterline, but I am focusing on getting this color underneath my lashes. I'm essentially going on top of my lashes. Now you could leave that alone if you're like, ooh, I really like that smokiness, but I do want to blend it out. So I'm going to take my pencil brush, load it up with the buffalo chicken, dab it onto the tissue, and to smudge this out, I'm going to put it right on top of the brown. Now, as you can see, the orange isn't very bright. It's more muted because we're going over the brown, but it does add a bit of tan, and it's kind of making a terracotta color right now, which I'm not mad at. And then as I blend a little bit lower, if you're like me and like really big blown out looks, you see the little bit underneath has that touch of orange. So we're creating the same type of gradient underneath the eye that we've done on top. Something that I'm noticing is that I have this little gap right here. It's not connecting. Now, if your eyes tear a lot in the outer corner, ignore this. Just let the gap stay there. Don't try to aggravate it. Normally, I wouldn't try to aggravate it, but I care more about teaching you guys different techniques than what's gonna happen in my eyes. My eyes do tear often, so normally I wouldn't add right here, but for educational purposes, I'm gonna show you what I would do if I didn't have a tearing eye problem. I'm gonna take my skinny tapered brush, I'm gonna dip it into the Willow, which is that dark color that I used, mix into my crease, and I'm going to place it on my lower lash line and just do little baby circles right here, going back and forth to connect this area. Now, if you wanna try this even though your eyes are tearing, just make sure you take a tissue and you get rid of any of the wetness, because that will keep your shadow from getting darker in that spot and causing more irritation. So just dab it if it's a little bit damp. Now, you already know that I love glitter, so we have to add a little bit more shimmer to this look. So I'm taking Glow Up, which is this like peachy pinky color right over here, and I'm going to add that underneath my eyebrow for some more shimmer. Oh yeah. Let's do that on both sides. And that's where, like, underneath the eyebrow, you go back and you add some of your shimmer. You keep it matte in the crease, shimmer under the brow, shimmer under the eyelid. Shimmer on the eyelid. And you just have different textures, which helps create more interesting makeups. Also going to add this into the very inner corner of the eye for some more shimmer. A little bit of a glow. Yeah, that's perfect. It's taken all of my energy to not go in with a brighter color, but I want to keep it dark. And I want to keep it dark and smoky without having to do the winged eyeliner. You know, I think we're so used to that with every makeup look, we gotta add a winged eyeliner. You don't have to add winged eyeliner. There's other ways to get the darkness. And I'm actually gonna go back in now with my black eyeliner pencil, and I'm going to re-enhance the tight line. Just make it a little bit darker. Mainly in the outer corner over here. And I'm also gonna go back into my lower waterline and just cover the black up in case any of the brown got in the way, so we have more of that darkness again. I didn't put any false lashes on with this look because I wanted to show you that it's okay to do a dramatic eye makeup without having to apply lashes. Especially if you struggle with lashes, don't worry about it. Just curl your real lashes, put on some mascara, and call it a day, my friend. I also decided if I should go with a lighter lip or a darker lip. I love dark lipstick, and I was like, well, it's a fall look. We're doing an orange smoky eye, so I went with a darker lip. What do you think? Would you have done a lighter lip? Let me know in the comments below.